Hello everyone, welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show, Peter Yu. Today we're going to talk about the everyday judoka that wants to level up, who wants to take it a little bit more seriously,
Yeah,
go to the next level, right? And then break through a plateau.
yeah. So this was a suggestion from one of our patrons, Augustin.
Yep.
He basically wanted to ask about our opinion on, hobbyists who love rough randori and then love to
Yeah.
compete. Because we usually
Yeah.
when we talk about hobbyists versus serious competitors, we kind of treat serious competitors on one side and the rest of them on the other.
Yeah.
And then we usually focus on more like the leisurely people. But,
Yeah.
he wanted to hear more about people more like him who wants to take it more seriously. And
Yeah. Definitely.
I used to be one. And,
Yeah.
so I could talk about it a little too. So,
Yeah.
let's have at it. Like, how do
Yep.
we, these people still have day jobs, so they can't
Yep.
train twice a day or anything like that, but they want to take it to the next level. Like, what can we do? Yeah.
I think first and foremost, you have to make every practice that you can.
Yeah.
Right? And that doesn't mean doing hard training every single practice of the week. If your dojo has judo 5 days a week, and you can't do hard judo every single day,
Yeah.
because there's guys who come in fresh on Tuesday and guys who come in on fresh on Thursday. And if you have 3 days of very hard training and then those guys are fresh,
Yeah.
you can potentially get injured.
Yeah.
Right? So changing your intensity based on which day, what round, who you're going with, and always working on something with somebody, right? So whether I go with somebody lighter, somebody smaller, someone less skilled, like I'm always working towards something,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? With somebody, right? So you don't want to be the guy that goes in there and just smashes everybody. Now all of a sudden no one wants to work out with you,
Right.
right?
Every round
So,
counts, and then you have to make
Every
it.
round,
Yeah.
every round counts. And then this is one of the most understated things is doubling up on randori rounds.
They're going one left
Right.
to another. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like not doubling up like one back to back, but like staying
Oh,
on
I
with the
see.
same partner 2 in a row.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because if you already serious, you're doing most of the early rounds, right? But let's say, for instance, when I used to train with Travis all the time and Jimmy Pedros,
Yeah.
right? Like going with him is kind of a luxury, but it's also kind of a nuisance, right? Because I have a bad day, he's beating the shit out of me, right?
Yeah.
And then it's rough, and then sometimes it's like, oh, I want to get it out of the way when I'm fresh, whatever it is. But sometimes it's like, yo, we'll do 1, 2, 3 rounds back,
Yeah.
right, with no breaks. So while the buzzer goes off and people are looking for new partners and floating around, we're just still hitting it.
Yeah.
Because we know we're going to keep it, right? And then famously, Ishii versus Suzuki, they used to train at Kyokushinkan together, and Suzuki told the story like Ishii, man, he like, hey, says it first round, senpai, and then if he got him first round, he wouldn't let him go for like 6 rounds in a row. So you knew like you were doing like a 45-minute banger with this dude, and he's just not gonna.
Right.
He's like unrelenting.
Right.
So it's like half of the practice is dedicated to this one guy almost, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you can't be that selfish with your time if you're in a sort of a commercial gym.
Yeah.
But if you've identified certain people around your skill level who are also trying to get to that next level,
Yeah.
and then you make it clear to the coach, like, hey, right? For instance, let's say if you're at the KBI now,
Yeah.
and if you wanted to compete and Gianni wanted to compete, and if you guys were like, all right, we both want to, I might just even say, like, you guys doubling up.
Yeah.
Right, we do 3-minute rounds, 30 seconds rest, 3-minute round. So now it's like you're going 6.5 straight.
Oof.
Right?
Yeah.
Not crazy, but maybe
Yeah.
you do 3 in a row.
Yeah.
3 in a row. Right? That way you get a high intensity, high skill randori all in one shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you can kind of go
Yeah.
off and then rest or recover. Right? That's one way to structure your training. And then also, like, let's say you're not good with lefties. So getting 4 back-to-back lefty rounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
you go with Gianni, who's lefty, then Eugene's also
Yeah.
a lefty, and you go with Eugene, and then Greg Lalos is lefty.
Yeah.
So now you have 3 back-to-back lefty rolls, so you do 10 minutes straight of being in that mentality of going with lefties. Right? So you're refining, and then doing things like this.
Right.
So those 2 things are kind of like the main things that I think to kind of design
Yeah.
your training to get to the next level.
So that's the judo side, like how to structure
Yeah.
randori, and then we're not talking about uchikomis that much because
yeah.
at this point you are like above that kind of,
Yeah.
So how about weightlifting, like training outside of judo? What do you recommend for these people? Because I try to, when I was really intense, I would lift and do judo, like on and off, like alternate kind of, but it's it's taxing on the body, like you know, like with a
is.
full-time job. So any advice on that?
I think you don't need to lift like a 5-day lifting program. You know,
Yeah.
people do push pull legs, rest, push pull legs,
Yeah.
rest like a bodybuilder. I don't think you need that, but you definitely need to fill in your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're not that explosive of an athlete,
Yeah.
you should be doing some sort of explosive movement. You know, and I think like cardio training is very important. Weight management is very important. So it's like where you are in the cycle, like, oh man, I got to lose 10, 15 pounds. Okay, low intensity, steady state cardio.
Yeah.
Doing lots of steps, doing that kind of a cardio. And then having once a week where you're just doing blowout sprints, fast, fast, fast for explosion.
Yeah.
Maybe like uphill sprints. And then working on like, you know, mobility, lifting, you know, filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like doing progressive overload to peak, you know, on the bench might not be very helpful.
Because that's not the movement you're
Yeah.
really using. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to look at your energy systems. Like, do you gas out fast? Do your forms get tired? You know, all these different things. You have to design a curriculum for you, a training program
Yeah.
for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I do think majority of people aren't naturally that strong.
Right.
And you can't just get strength from judo. I'm a big believer in this, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a foundational strength.
Yeah.
So having like a lifting program when you're sort of earlier on in your life, right? Whether maybe you were an accountant your whole life, all of a sudden now you're going
Yeah.
to judo, you've been doing it for 2 years, you love it. Okay, I want to take it to the next level, implement the lifting program.
Yeah.
Right? And that lifting program probably is a foundational lifting program because you don't have the foundation for it.
Right.
Right? But for me, who've been lifting since, you know, I'm 13, 14 years old,
Yeah.
for me to go on like a push-pull legs split with like, all right, you know, 8 exercises for the chest, incline, decline, fly, whatever it is, and doing that, it's not going to be helpful anymore.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So like majority of my lifting program at my age might be maintenance based.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Keeping my explosive speed and doing sprints. A lot of what I should be doing is like weight management stuff.
I see. I see.
You know, and even when I'm doing lifting, it should be sort of circuit training. Because for me to, if I was competing at hundreds, 220, if there was a physically like weaker thing that was happening where I needed to gain strength, then I would probably do, you know, go back into like heavy benching,
Yeah.
deadlifting, squat, and all those things. But I'm not.
Mm.
Right? So you got to look at where your needs are.
I see.
And I definitely do think there's a place for cardio and lifting.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be every day, right? Because the majority of your training
Should be judo. Yeah.
And if your weightlifting is taking away from judo to a point where you can't do judo in the evening, then you know, you're not getting enough mat time.
Yeah.
Right? And we're talking about hobbyists who are trying to turn into serious hobbyists.
Yeah. For
You know what I mean?
who want to compete in local circuit and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Dude, I see it all the time, man. I'm going to start deadlifting because you think deadlifts is a great exercise. Yes. Now all of a sudden they're doing strong lifts program, 5x5, and then they're doing the progressive. Oh, they throw out their back, they can't do judo. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
what was the point of that? You know?
That's why I couldn't really decide on the program. So when I was like training hard for nationals, for example, I just did like whole body, like 3 big lifts, you know, bench, squats, and then deadlifts. Like I don't do anything like really heavy.
Yeah.
Then
you
I'll
don't
do
have to,
pull-ups.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
that will be my weightlifting day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was enough for me, you know. So it doesn't. You don't have to be like, follow the best program or optimize to
No.
the max. Yeah.
No. And then if
Yeah.
you do lift heavy in the morning and then it's, you know, you're fatigued in the evening, go with people who are much lighter,
Yeah.
smaller, weaker, and then you can sort of take a technical approach that
Right.
day.
Right.
And then you have to kind of like adjust. But, you know, you lift in the mornings, you should be able to be recovered enough for the evening if
Yeah.
you're eating properly, sleeping properly, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Makes sense. So that's that. Judo, judo training, supplementary training outside, and then
Yeah.
now how about competitions? Like, how do you pick the right competitions, and
Yeah.
like how do you, you know, get the team going together? You know, yeah, it is an individual sport, but at the same time, going to tournaments, you know,
And
it's
Jimmy
better.
Pedro said this in one of our episodes recently,
Yeah.
like every tournament has to be developmental.
Yeah.
You never want to go into a tournament that you're just going to get smoked. It's not even good for you.
Right,
It's
right.
too risky. You can get injured. Every tournament you should do, it should be just slightly above your level so it's developmental and you learn something from it.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation you have to have with your coach.
Uh-huh.
Because even within the local circuit, people know, okay, this tournament's there, that tournament's there, this is the points tournament. I know these gyms go to that tournament. So you can kind of figure out which local competition is going to be tough, not so tough.
Right.
right? So you kind of have to gauge that, and then kind of have to have a group of guys going together to know, right, where you kind of belong.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that happens after you do the competition is you have to analyze your games. You have to analyze your matches, and then you have to be introspective about it and approach it from a intellectual standpoint.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one. Even when you do randori at night, you have to dedicate some time to going back and then try to understand patterns and mistakes. You know, it's like me only playing blitz and chess.
Yeah, then that's all instinctive.
Yeah,
And,
I played for like a year straight. I still sucked after a year straight of playing chess. I was making the same mistakes over and over again.
So you think, so in chess you should also try to play the standard game?
Dude, I was not getting better at chess at all. I usually consistently beats me all the time in chess. I freaking suck at chess. I love chess.
Yeah, I know you do, yeah.
But I suck at it. And I'm like wondering, and then I literally Googled 5 mistakes beginners make when they're trying to get good at chess. And the first one was like only playing short games.
I see.
That was number 1. And I was like, all right, I don't have the attention span for longer 20, 30-minute games.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do, instead of a 5-minute blitz, to a rapid 10-minute game.
I see.
Right, so I did that. Right, that was the first adjustment that I made. And the second biggest mistake was not analyzing your games.
After the game,
After. I still don't really do it, but I do it every now and then.
Yeah.
Right, which kind of gives you like,
Yeah.
Right? So those two things directly, same with judo.
Yeah.
You have to analyze your matches. You have to analyze your thing. Whenever you have a randori night, you have to go back and kind of think about it.
Yeah.
And be introspective about it. Right? What worked, what didn't work. What could I have done better? You know?
And also, like, picking the right competition, kind of like instead of always going for blitz that you like, there's something a little tougher, right? The rapid games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So then, so you select these local tournaments, and I eventually, you'll get to the point where you want to go to regionals and like even to nationals and all that. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And because once you go outside of locally, like you need funding to travel. You may need funding to travel, or it becomes a bigger problem. So, what do you like for hobbyists? What do you recommend? Like
I mean, you gotta have a 9 to 5 at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? You're a hobbyist. You're trying to pay for this hobby.
Yeah.
And it's starting to get costly, right? And most hobbies are costly.
Yeah.
You know.
True.
Any hobby is costly. You could try picking up golf.
Oh,
right. It's so much more expensive, right?
Yeah.
Peter?
It's not as expensive as
No.
yeah. Oh, I meant judo is not as expensive as golf.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
So
even if you're
kind of have to
traveling,
you got to budget for that. Then you got to do it, and if they have training camps, go do that. Visit other dojos if they have open mats. And trying to get different looks.
Yeah.
Right. But like I always say, man, this is a good conversation to have with your coach, because I have a lot of guys who are in my gym doing well, doing local competitions, and now they fool themselves into like, all right, I got to get to the next level. I'm gonna go all these open mats and see what happens, and then they tear the ACL or break their arm.
Yeah.
Especially because it's like, oh, I'm Shintaro, I'm a green belt on the Shintaro. Now all of a sudden, they're at a different gym, and people assume that the guy is very, very good.
Right.
And you're a guest, and you're trying to smoke them, and you just don't really get the culture. And now all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Their black belts come out and kick the shit out of you.
Yeah.
That's not a good look. We had so many guys like that. So
really,
you kind of have to have open dialogue with your coach about that, and then start kind of not branching out, but getting other looks, new people. And that's where it helps if you have a gym that has guests and visitors, right? Which some gyms do all the time.
Yeah. Because then
especially in New York City, because Manhattan, everyone coming here for vacation.
Right.
They go on vacation, they bring a gi, they hit me up. Can I come by and work out with you? Sure.
Yeah.
They come, and now all of a sudden, my intermediate guys have exposure to like a black belt from the Netherlands or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Completely different styles, and
Yeah. And then if they're honest about it with me and having a conversation, like, how good is that guy?
Yeah.
And then I could say, like, oh, he'd probably be like top 10 in the country or something like that, but he's not international level good.
Yeah.
Right? And now they can measure themselves against that person, and now all of a sudden, this person's like, okay, this is exactly where I am. Therefore, these are the competitions that I could potentially go to. And then if they want to go to like a, I don't know, President's Cup, it might be a reach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're not even close to beating that guy.
Yeah.
So let's stick local here, or the higher level local levels, or if you're on the national ranking roster, it's like, all right, let's go to an E level or a D level tournament. But even those, E level on the East Coast versus West Coast, very different.
Very different. Yeah.
West Coast a lot tougher with judo.
Yeah.
More dojos. You know?
So that's on the serious hobbyist side.
Yeah.
So let's kind of switch gears to the coach's side, like or the gym owner, you know, who is supporting this effort. So what do you do? Like when people come up to you, it's like, hey, Shintaro, I wanna take things more seriously. I wanna do more hard randoris, and I wanna compete more. Like, how do you help these people usually?
I mean, I'm at a point where it's like anyone could tell me anything, but if I don't see that in their actions, I don't give any meaning to it. You know what I mean? People tell me all the time, I want to compete, I want to be a champion, I want to do this. Okay, you know, then I better see you every time I'm in the dojo. I better see you here. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And when I don't see you here, and then they show up, I don't see them for 3 weeks, and they're like, hey man, you know, I remember our conversation, like, what can I do? It's like, no.
Yeah.
You told me you wanted to do something. I've been thinking about your judo. I haven't seen you in 3 weeks. You don't get to keep like just telling me you want to be a champion. But if you're there every day that I'm there, right? I see that you're putting out. You're working hard, asking the right questions,
doing all the things to put themselves on the fast track. Yeah.
It's like this. You know, I saw a clip. You know, Derek from More Plates, More Dates. He's like the nutrition guy, right? He's the
I don't know.
Probably,
no.
Yeah, different demographic. But I feel like a muscle bound, you know it. And then he's talking to this guy, and he's like, "Hey, I can't really lose the last bit of belly fat, and I always try, and I always lift, and I do this many cardio." And Derek goes, "Well, do you count calories?" And the guy's like, "No." And he goes, "Well, there you go. I can't help you."
Can't help you.
Minimum. Yeah, it's like, "Oh, I'm doing this." Do you count calories? No. Okay, well then, you know, I can't help you if you're not counting calories.
It's kind of like this, like, oh, I want to compete more, you know, yada yada, and you would ask, do you come to practice every day?
Yeah, do you come training every day? And then it's like, okay, no, I'm doing everything I can. All right, how many times a week did you lift and run this week?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, not serious enough. I'm not wasting my breath.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I won't help you, you know, and if it's a technical question and you know you're making a certain mistake and I'll just tell you. But if they're asking me for something more beyond the scope of regular coach student relationship, right? Like, hey, I need you to help me out to get to this thing, and I want you to be my guy, and I want to have access to you 24/7, and I want to call you and stuff like that. Like Gianni has that.
Yeah. Oh, coach.
Gianni at the gym,
man,
he can hit me up anytime. Right?
He really impresses me. I think he's one of the top. I mean, is he even a hobbyist at this point? He's like pretty serious about this, yeah?
Dude, he works in a very stressful professional environment. He works in finance. He gets up every day at 5, puts in the time in a workout. Yeah. Right? He's 24/7 thinking about this stuff, asking me questions. And then every time I'm at training, he's at training. You know? Obviously, when he has work-related stuff, he lets me know ahead of time. Right? But just his progression's just unbelievable.
I know. It's very admirable to see him. I've only met him a couple of times. I've only randori with him a couple of times, but you can tell he's like a serious guy.
And, dude. And then same thing, man. He's like, I want to fight and I want to be successful. It's like, okay, you're gonna have to make 81. All right, how do we do that? You count calories?
Because he when I met him at first, he was competing at 90, I think. Or something like that.
Yeah, he was like 210.
Yeah.
You know? Now he's cutting down, and it's like, all right, you got to count calories.
Oh, wow.
Counting calories, right? Losing the weight. Losing the weight, putting in cardio, working out with Eugene twice a week and lifting and running.
Oh, right? Wow. Okay.
Doing judo, doing jiu-jitsu, right? And then he's working full time. Dude, this guy is 5 a.m. to freaking 10 p.m. every day doing this. Between like training and work, training and work. And it's like he shows me with his actions that he's serious, and I'm like, this kid is worth me,
right? And then
trying to give him everything that I got.
You would sometimes travel with him. Have you been on his sideline, right?
I don't know about that.
Oh no,
I don't always travel.
Yeah.
But eventually, right? Yeah. Whenever he doesn't need me like that yet.
I see.
He just still needs to get mat time in these competitions. But then eventually, when he gets to the point where is he gonna make it? Mm-hmm. Right? He's close. He has to win. And taking a 3rd or a 5th at this event might make that decision. Yeah. Then when he gets to that level, 100% I'm going to be there for him. Yeah. Right? But not yet. I'm not needed like that. There's other ways that I could help him. Right. That I don't have to burn a whole weekend for him. Yeah.
I see.
So, but yeah, everyone, they all say they want to be a champion. Everyone tells me this.
Well, yeah, right? But are you willing do what Gianni is doing. I did it for a period of time and for the nationals, but I don't think I could have like lasted this long like as Gianni has. Like
that's why it's so hard to make an Olympic team. Because you have to do it sustained for 4 years at a time. Olympic cycle after Olympic cycle.
It's tough. It's a tough life. Yeah,
you gotta love it. You gotta stay healthy. You gotta be lucky not to get injured, et cetera, you know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
All right. Well, this is, for those of you hobbyists who want to take it more seriously, this is what it takes. It's not easy. No. But you know, if you structure it in a way, it's more fun, I guess. I mean, there's a gradient to this too, right? Like you don't have to go all the way to Gianni's level. You can still enjoy, you know.
First and last out.
Yeah, first and last out.
Philo, man. Come to train. You get off work at 6. Head straight to the dojo. Be there. Have a conversation. Talk to the people.
No more happy hours.
No more happy hours. Drill. I was about to say drink. Don't drink. Drill.
Yeah.
Right? And then get extra mat time and then practice and stay after, man. Stay after, do a couple throws, ask more questions, drill extra. Nick Brinsmay does that. He's there first and he leaves last consistently, right? And that's extra mat time. And when you're doubling up the rounds, you could also spare, right, the time that you would be walking around looking for a new partner.
Yeah, how?
You know?
And then adds up.
When you pick a partner, adds up. And you know what? Sometimes you pick a partner and you immediately go, and there's still 27 seconds to look for a partner. Work those 27 hours. You don't have to go all out because people are walking around, right? But you can start entering your stance. You can start messing around with grips, and you can start the low intensity, like flow into the actual round, and that way you get, you know, I don't know, 15, 20% more, right? Roll time, you know, as opposed to like the buzzer goes off, you fix your belt,
and then you get pushed out of bounds.
Out of bounds, and you enter and you circle each other for like, right?
Yeah.
15 seconds, and then the first time you're putting your hands on, already 47 seconds has gone.
Yeah. And then
you lost a minute.
2 minutes left. Yeah. That's a trick. I love that.
That's a trick. Yeah. There was a Japanese YouTuber that did that. Like it looked like him and this guy were gonna go at it. And they did every trick in the book to not engage, and it was like a 5-minute round of them not even touching each other.
Is it what's his name? Kawabata?
So funny.
Kawabata? What's his name? The short.
I don't think it was him.
Oh, okay.
I think it was somebody else.
I see. I gotta check it out. Yeah.
But it was like I gotta make that video.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot from my my recipe book. You know. Use the element.
It's like tying your shoes in wrestling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or the ankle band, you know.
Yeah, it's like your shoelace is untied, and you wait for the belt to go, buzzer to go off. All right, let's go, guys, takedowns. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You tie your shoe.
Yeah.
And you gotta tie the other shoe.
Yeah.
And then you like wrestle, and then he touches your head, and then you have to fix your headgear. Hold on.
You gotta look good. Yeah.
And then you take one bad shot, and you push him out of bounds, and you like walk to the middle of the mat.
Yeah.
And then you float around and like, well, no, it's too crowded here. Let's find a better space. And then
you seem to know about this really well.
I was a master at this.
Yeah.
No one better than me at that.
So funny.
Because I used to be hungover all the time when I was.
Oh gosh, I see.
Yep.
Still make NCAA, right? What do you call that? All American. Weren't you All American?
Wrestling?
Yeah.
No. I was never All-American. I was All-State.
All-State. Okay. All-State. Yeah.
But I didn't make it. I lost in the conference finals, and then I didn't go to nationals.
Oh.
I lost in the finals. Qualifier.
Almost.
I know. Too bad.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is how you take it seriously with judo as a hobbyist. And anything else?
Nope.
All right.
Guys, join us on Patreon. Thank you guys for always listening and tuning in.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.